Yep. All right, we're recording.
Okay, now you have to adjust your camera, Wayne.
All right, there.
Awesome. All right, we're recording officially. So
All right.
good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Up With People world. This is Donna Reed. I'm from 1976A, and I'm with Wayne Duvall, and we've already had 10 minutes of technology fun. So I am on my phone for a change. Good times. And Wayne is on the computer and he's recording this. So we're going to always learning, right, Wayne?
Well, yeah, let's hope I know how to save it and send it, but we'll find out.
If
Otherwise,
not,
we'll have to do it again. Uh-oh.
That's right. You and I will talk again. So for those of you that haven't watched any of these videos, I just started interviewing alumni from across the years and across the miles to learn a little bit about how Up With People affected their life, and honestly, just share some fun about when we traveled. So Wayne, let's start off by telling everybody kind of where you are in your world, what you do now, and when you traveled.
Yeah, I traveled in, I was a part of Cast A in 1978. Okay. And currently I make my living as an actor, and I live in New York City, and that's pretty much what I've been doing. We're living in New York City. I'm married, and life is good.
And you, actually, I just had friends, believe it or not, that saw you in Berkeley. So I so wanted, I so wanted to get to out to Berkeley to see that show, and couldn't fit it into my schedule. And then someone that I know from the Bay Area said they were there.
Oh, wow.
And they said, who's your friend? Who's your friend? And I told them your name, and they go, he was the captain. I'm like, I know. I know. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was a great time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I loved the pictures of it, and I hope that it moves forward and that I can see it.
I hope so. And I hope it moves forward with me. You never know in this business. It's not guaranteed.
That's true.
So
that's true.
I have no idea.
So I met you that summer. I was doing costumes. That was the second time that I had done costumes. And you were a friend of Tony Zanilotti, who I had traveled with.
My brother, Tony.
Yep. You, Tony, Brett Rolfson, Larry Swenson. I just remember this group of blonde boys, right?
Right. Yes. Brett and I no longer have hair. Tony's the only one with hair.
Yeah.
He's still a blonde boy.
He is still a blonde boy. Good point. And you, and then I kind of got to know you a little bit more again, just through reunions, and then a pause, in life, but I've always followed your career. So tell me, you staged in Tucson, right?
Yep. Tucson, Arizona.
And what were the costumes like that you wore in 78?
They were funny. I had like the unitard, I guess you'd call it, where you step into it and zip it up in the front and let's go. It was blue and it had the big puffy white sleeves. I always think whenever I hear that Seinfeld episode when he has the puffy shirt, I go, yes, I did a year in a puffy shirt. And then the other outfits you'd wear, like when you'd go do an assembly or some special performance, whatever, if we didn't wear the puffy shirts and the women had this bright orange skirt, you'd wear what I like to look at as communist Chinese outfit when the women were all in brown, and it was like, oh my God, you look back on it and you go, wow. But what a time, man. That was awesome. Yes, but I was in the puffy shirt.
The puffy shirt. And so from your show, do you remember a song that is clearly your favorite, or was your favorite, or that comes to mind now and then?
Oh yeah, Moonrider.
Moonrider,
the finale, which I never got to sing. And I tried to sing it at this last reunion, and then they had like Cindy Watson had a tryout with me and another guy, and the other guy got it. I was robbed.
I hope Cindy watches this.
I know. I was robbed, Cindy. Next one I go to, I want to sing it.
It's interesting. I was at a fundraising event yesterday, and it's called Reach for the Stars. And somebody did this whole thing on the moon, and I sent them the link. I'm like, you guys, you have to hear this song for people who are stargazers and
Such a beautiful song. It's just amazing.
yeah.
You know, I
And
remember at the reunion, we gathered around a piano, our cast, and we sang, and I got to sing it there. But yeah, it was fun, man. It was so great.
and 44 years later,
Oh,
it's still an important song.
yeah. Oh my God. And what's the name? The other song was Give the Children Back Their Childhood.
We sing that in our show too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that song.
Super moving. That's a song that they've used on and off through the years with various incarnations, So
So
yeah.
great. So great.
So do you have any fun or funny stories from on the road that you can share with the world that like won't get you sent home?
No, well, I almost did get sent home,
Uh-oh. Is that a
only
story
because
you could share?
yeah, only because it was so strict back then. I had a girlfriend in the cast, Tammy,
Ooh.
and Steve Stevenson had his girlfriend, Frankie, and I was like the MC guy, and I was a dancer and a singer, so and Steve was a dancer, and Tammy was like the hot dancer in the show, and Frankie was a dancer too. So we had, for the performance part, a lot of us, and we were getting ready to go to Argentina, the first time up with people I think had been there,
Wow.
and we were laid over in Florida to catch like some big C-38 transport plane or whatever, and we were having a couple of beers in a bedroom, just sitting talking, nothing, but it was like two couples talking. We weren't doing anything, and
Ooh.
Cindy Watson came by.
Got Cindy again.
I think Cindy narked on us, because then she called Rick Kleiner, was our casting and it was like, oh my God. And then they had Steve Rakowski was involved. It was like you would think that we had done the worst thing possible, and they were just, oh, do we send him home? Do we? And my brother's talking to me. He's a lawyer, and he was like, man, you're an adult. You can do it. You're not doing anything wrong. And they were like, there were big summits and people talking about this. What do we do? They were in a room with the other sex, but we were fully clothed. It was hysterical. And finally they went, well, we can't let him go. That's our show. Everybody there was like key to the performance part, but we all felt bad. But then I was like, I don't feel so bad. But anyway, there's that. And then there was one time in Mexico where me and my buddy Ors got Montezuma's revenge, and we were running around the city, just, please, for the love of God, someone have toilet paper in this town. And they did. Nowhere. And it was like the Keystone Cops, these two guys running around the city trying to find toilet paper. Please, papel. But no. But anyway.
So when I interviewed NK, a young man that traveled in 2013, he had that whole story about Mexico too, So I think at first I was like, do we want to talk about this? And I'm like, too many of us traveled, too many of us experienced.
Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes.
Yeah, it was a thing. So
so sorry. But that's, I mean, I'm sure there were costumes ripped and split in the butt or whatever, but
yeah,
it was just a blast. It was all sorts of stuff.
All sorts of things happened. So had you already, like, I don't remember how old you were. Had you already done school and theater?
I had done 2 years of college. That was a big deal. I had done 2 years of college, and then I was going to leave for a year to do Up with People. And my father had been deceased, but my mom and brothers were like, you're not leaving school. No way, And Tony Zanilotti sat down with brother Tony, sat down with my brother, who's a lawyer. The other one was on a phone. He's a lawyer. And Tony just said, look, let me talk to you. And after the end of the conversation, if you don't think he should do it, then he won't do it. And I left. I wasn't around. Tony talked to my brother. And when I came back, I guess my brother looked up at me and said, well, have a good time. So
way to sell it, Zanilotti.
Tony was amazing. Tony was amazing. It was because of him I got to End Up with People, because I'd never seen the show.
Wow, that's awesome. I've only done, this is, I think you're the 5th interview, and in my brain, like, one of my questions is, when did you first see a show? Assuming everybody saw a show. but they didn't. I mean, all over the place, the way that people connected. So that's
Donna,
pretty.
if I told you how I got in, you'd send Tony home.
Oh, okay, never
Because
mind.
no. But Tony's already been sent home. He's done.
Yeah,
But no,
he's done.
he literally, because he was like my brother, and I was at his house all the time, and Kurt, his little brother, was my best friend. And so I do sleepovers there, wake up, have breakfast and everything. And they knew I wanted to be an actor or in the
Mm.
performing arts. And Tony goes, "Can you sing?" I said, "I don't know." And he said, "Come down to the basement." And I went down to the basement because Tony then said, "I'm in charge of Up With People's recruiting at the time. And I could get, and let me hear if you can sing or not." And I went down to the basement and I did scales. I literally went, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. He goes, "Okay, I'm going to say you're a soloist and we'll get you a scholarship." And that's exactly and then when I got there and they do that big show for everybody in the cast, and they had picked me to sing the song "Everybody's in the Show," and Tony came up to me and said, "You better be able to sing." He said, because,
Everybody's in the show.
yeah, he goes, "If you can't sing, I'm in trouble because I got you a scholarship." It was funny, but I could sing. So I learned I could sing and Up With People.
That, my youngest, Caleb, he traveled.
Yeah,
And at that point, my older two sons had already done a lot of music and Caleb hadn't. Caleb had done theater, but more straight plays. He hadn't done much singing. So, I think I credit Up With People with his learning and being confident. I think at some level you got to be confident anyway, right? You got to
right,
make it till you make it.
right, right.
But
And well, Up With People gave me the confidence to go, yeah, I think I can do this
yeah,
career. That
yeah.
gave me the confidence because that's what I wanted to do. And college really didn't give it to me until after Up With People. Then I started getting cast in all the shows.
So did you go back and finish school then? Or did you go
Yeah.
back and go right
Well,
back?
the deal was, see, I got a partial scholarship, right? They paid for the first semester and they wanted me to, obviously I wanted to come back, but they said it's going to be, at that time, it was going to be $2,000, which was a lot of money, for
Yeah.
me. And my uncle said to me, I tell you what, he was kind of well off, my uncle, and he said, "I'll give you the money. And if you don't go back to college, you owe it to me. But if you
Oh,
go back to college, it's a gift."
wow.
So I said, "All right." And they wanted me to come back for another year. But I
Um,
said, I can't because I don't want to have to pay him $2,000, you know?
wow.
Yeah. So I went back to school, I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, the last couple of years, Wayne, has been, I'm trying to not swear at all in these things, but it's been a mess, right? We've had a messy few years. And those of you in the entertainment industry were affected as much or more than almost any other category. That's probably not fair for me to say, because I'm sure somebody will listen to this and go, "I didn't have any job for 2 years." Whereas I'm a realtor, we still sold a lot of houses. So how did COVID and everything that's happened the last couple of years affect your life? And is there anything that you feel like you learned enough with people or whatever that helped you work through the last couple of years?
Well, it's true. The entertainment industry was just dead. There was nobody anywhere in the world was being hired for a job,
Right.
because you need other people to do what I do. And I think the big thing I learned from Up With People, because of the experience of living with families and always being a guest wherever you stayed. um, I think because of that generosity of spirit that people gave us when we go to places, I think gratitude was a big thing that I learned in Up With People. I was very grateful for what I'd learned, how I was treated, families opening their homes. And for the COVID time, I got through thinking, hey man, I'm lucky I'm able to do what I love to do.
Mhm.
And I can always try to continue um, doing what I do, in my little locked apartment. There were Zoom readings we do, which I didn't like doing, but it gave me the chance to be with my wife, have fun. We rented a house out on Shelter Island for 2 months. you know, it was just the two of us, and we had this house, and she'd puzzle all day, and I did Zoom meetings and, you know, talk to people. It was a great way to reconnect with my Up with People castmates, because they would, Beth Leib would always put together um, a Zoom meeting once a month. I think it was the first Saturday of every month. We'd have like as many people could come would come, and it was just great seeing everybody, you know. And the last reunion we had, which I don't know when it was, a few years back, but was so
It was
rejuvenating.
18 because I think it was because Caleb and you were on the same year and he was
Yeah.
his first year. Yeah.
Okay, so it was 2018.
Yeah.
All right, so 4 years ago, but it was so rejuvenating, you know, to see everybody and just remember how valuable that year was to my growth, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in terms of COVID, you know, I don't know what I learned from Up with People that got me through COVID, except for, you know, just be grateful for where you are in life. And you learn from seeing how other people live in different economic strata, that you go, I'm very grateful for what I have, you know, I don't take anything for granted, you know. And people like Tony, I'm very grateful for what they've done in my life, and I make sure I tell them,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I if you were going to talk to, so Up with People is reforming in some way, shape, or form, and you may or may not know this, but they're looking at how to incorporate all different sorts of arts into the future of Up with People. And so it might be theater, and it might be music, and it might be sculpture, and it might be painting, and just to really make it an arts program. And as you look back and you told me about, okay, 2 years of college and convincing the family to let you travel, what would you say to a young person who thinks they might want to do this, even though you don't know exactly what it's going to look like?
Well, I think the first question I'd ask is, why do you want to do this, you know? But you know, I totally, again, I've been out of it 40 some years, so I don't know what the new, you
Right.
know, iteration's going to be. But, you know, based on what my experience was, I would say, if you want to expand your horizons as a human being, you know, and learn and take advantage of the fact that you're going to live with different people from different, you know, walks of life, um, you know, I would say do it. It can only help you grow as a human being, and it only can also open a dialogue with other human beings to find out, you know, what they think. Why do they think what they think? Don't judge them. Listen, you
Yep.
know, and that way you can learn, because you know, in our divisive world right now, it's like there's not a lot of people sitting down and listening to an opposing view. They just immediately go, "You're an idiot." You know, I'm
Yeah.
not talking to you, and I say that from experience. You
Right.
know, I've done that with people. I can't talk to you. You know, as opposed to, let's just sit down and talk. You know, and try not to judge. Bite your lip if you want to yell, but you know, just try to understand. And I
Right.
think Up with People gives you that kind of way of like, okay, I'm going to be open to what this experience is going to be. You know, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good. All right. So I have this. We're calling it a speed round, but it's so funny. It's not usually really
Wait a
speedy.
minute, we're done already?
I know. Well, we're at like 22 minutes, I think, but the
Why?
truth
Well,
is,
who gives you these rules? 22 minutes.
it's all mine. I'm just watching the
Oh
clock.
man, my favorite city is Guadalajara.
Okay.
I love the people there. My favorite time was the fact that I was always put with rich people all the time, and I requested a poor family. I requested a poor family, and that was my favorite experience of all of Up with People, because I lived with an old poor family that had a grandparents that had 75th anniversary while I was there. It was great. So I
Oh,
loved it. Anyway, okay. I'm
okay,
sold.
wait. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more just
All
because you're
right.
John. Do you have a favorite movie that you've been in?
Oh, a favorite movie that I've been in. A favorite movie that I like to watch, or a favorite movie that I had best time making?
The best time making?
Leatherheads, which was
Really?
a football movie with George Clooney starred in, and just because it was just so much fun. I First half of my life was basketball, and we'd all play basketball on our days off, and it was just a big fraternity party and guys having fun and long-lasting relationships. Stephen Root's one of my dearest friends. I just worked with John Krasinski again, who was in that movie, and you know, and
That's
that was
fun.
a great reunion. So, you know, that movie was my most fun to make.
So one of the first movies that I saw you in, I was at Catalina Island, and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
That was
and,
a very, yeah.
And Wayne, I was like, oh, he's a good actor, because I don't like the person that he is in the show.
Oh, I play a lot of, I'm going to say it, assholes. And that was a fun one. That was a fun one to play. That opened up a lot of doors.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All righty. Well,
all right.
I
What
think
your speed round is? What is it?
Well, you did it. You already said, okay, what about a food? You already told me where you liked the host family, the city.
It would have to be like most foods in Mexico. It really introduced me to true Mexican food. I mean,
Okay.
I just loved the food there. It was great. So
okay.
I can't remember which I liked, you know, maybe it was, well, paella is Spanish, but you know, something like that. It was amazing. All the food there.
All the food, yeah. And you're from, Midwest East, and I was from Ohio. So like tacos were basically hamburger with one kind of salsa. That was our option.
Yeah, exactly. And some like crappy cheese flung
yeah.
on it. Right.
The options did
like
not exist.
Kraft cheese or American cheese thrown on. I don't know.
Yeah. Tell me if there's a city, because you've traveled for work now a lot, so you've been a lot of places and you've traveled the world. Is there some place you went in Up with People that you would say, I want to go back there? Now, I know you mentioned Guadalajara.
That would be the city.
Okay.
It would really it. Guadalajara, I just adored. I've been back to Buenos Aires, which was kind of fun, but it was disappointing this time. I don't know why. But Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta were two amazing cities that I loved. Guadalajara, just for the flowers everywhere, and it was just fun. And that's where I stayed with the poorer family. You know, I had to literally request. I know. I don't know. I kept getting all the gold doorknobs, and because there's no middle class there, and I kept saying, everyone, people are going, oh my God, I had to wash my hair in a stream in the back, and I'm like, I had a garden in my shower, and so I finally said, look, I'd really like a poorer family if I could, I don't want super rich, cushy every time. And they finally did. It was awesome, and it was the best. It was so rewarding. Family meant everything to those people.
It's where we learn. It's where we learn. So.
Yep.
All righty, my friend, you have the record button, and we're going to hope Up with People alumni that we know how to get this to YouTube, and Wayne's going to say it. And
otherwise, we'll have to do it again.
We'll have to do it again, and we don't know what we'll say that time, will we?
I know. So
thank you for doing this. I love seeing you, and I watch for you on the screen. So
thanks, Donna. I love you.
Bye. Loves.
Bye. Now what do I do?